Welcome to the Hollywood Scholar. I'm Jed Morgan, and the fallout of the Rings of Power is just starting to be revealed. And it did not take long for the Access Media and mainstream media sites, and even Amazon themselves, to play some defensive strategies and attack fans and just label all criticism of the show review bombing. We've got this article here from Forbes that says Rings of Power is getting review bombed hard, so hard Amazon suspends reviews entirely. And yeah, Amazon is doing some chicanery on their site, but it's also happening on other sites like Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb. Now, I'm normally very much against the concept of review bombing. It doesn't happen as much as people say, and it's not as one-sided as people say. These mainstream places seem to think review bombing only happens negatively. Well, it does happen positively sometimes, and it's sometimes this crazy concept. People just don't like your show. I know, that's crazy, right? They just cannot fathom ever that people just don't like their show. Like with She-Hulk, the general consensus online that I've seen is that people are disliking it, but it's got a 50% in Rotten Tomatoes. That must mean it's review bombing. No, it's crazy, but sometimes people just don't like the show. So when review bombing is thrown out by these companies and these mainstream sites, I immediately roll my eyes and know it's either a lie, over-exaggerated, or just a weird situation going on. But I have to admit, there appears to be some review bombing when it comes to the Rings of Power, and I have to confess that and be honest with you guys. It definitely looks like some review bombing is happening, and it's definitely positive review bombing, because holy crap, there is way more positive 10-star reviews than there are 1-star reviews. And even like the average fan who likes the show isn't going to be giving it about a 7, 8. Nothing deserves a 10 in my opinion. There may be 2, 3 movies in all of human existence, and that many TV shows as well, and all human existence deserve a 10 out of 10. This is heavy review bombing. The same thing happened with She-Hulk. Before they started doing those review bombing articles, it was way more 10-star review bombing positively. And the same thing happened with that, new lesbian baseball movie. There wasn't enough 10-star review bombing, so the director came out and said, hey, let's review bomb it so that it's not negative. Same thing happening, but they're going to ignore this entirely and just focus on this. People are going to hate on the show. People are going to love this show. I definitely lean more into this territory than that territory. Holy crap. I hated this show. I hated it so very much. And a lot of people I know did. And everyone I've interacted with online has been in the 5-1 range. So this seems fair. This doesn't seem like review bombing based on the context that I've seen online. This absolutely does. So review bombing is happening, but it's not in the way that they fits the narrative. So they're just going to ignore that entirely, as they always do. You can look at Rings of Power on Rotten Tomatoes. They're saying it's being review bombed on here as well. They've been fighting to get these scores up. They keep removing a bunch. They keep changing the scores. If you want to see an actual time lapse of how the score changed yesterday, check out OBG70's channel. He had a 5-second refresh stream going on where it would refresh Rotten Tomatoes every 5 seconds and show you how it was changing over the course of the day. Really great stream. Go check it out if you're interested. But yeah, that's very fair. That's a higher percentage than I personally gave it, and 84% is really low for the critics, especially when it comes to a show of this caliber that can be protected politically to the degree that this one can be. So I think generally it's safe to say it's not that much of a review bombing in the negative sense. In the positive sense, IMDb, absolutely, but in the negative sense, not really. People just genuinely don't like it. And again, all the critics have disappeared. I've shown that in previous videos where they've come up and then they've disappeared, and it's just a weird shenanigans going on. I don't know why you wouldn't want some critic reviews, at least some of them, to be available out there. And why did you have some available initially, but now you've taken them away? It's a very weird situation with critics. But it's very easy to tell the difference between a bot and a review bomber and an honest review. Like this one is 100% an honest review. Look how much detail they go into it. And yeah, the 1.5 star, that's pretty close to where I'm at. I'm a little lower than that, but that's in detailed. You could have an argument for that one because it's not specific, and that's the problem. If you do these reviews, I personally don't interact with Rotten Tomatoes. It's been a crap site for many, many years now, but if you do decide to do a review, make sure it's got actual references to the show that you're referring to, like say, hey, Rings of Power is this for these reasons. If you just say absolutely shocking, it doesn't tell them whether or not you actually watch the show. And so there might be an argument that it's just a generic comment that can be applied to any show and they can disregard it. So that might be a bot, or that might be a review bomb. Absolutely. Yep. Yep, it's so easy to tell. That's another one that could be completely generic and be applied to any show, fantasy show. That one's real. That one's real. It's so easy to tell. It's not review bombing if people are genuinely feeling this way. And that's something that these companies cannot fathom. And as was mentioned in the headline of that previous article, Amazon has prevented people from reviewing it in order to stop review bombing. Be the first to review. I don't personally have an Amazon Prime, and I'm not going to be paying for it as long as the Rings of Power is on their platform. I think it's a disgusting adaptation and offensive to Tolkien. But yeah, be the first to review it. You cannot review this show because they're trying to prevent review bombing. No, it's crazy. I know it's crazy, but people aren't liking your show. These are real. I just showed you, at least of the first page, they're all real. And the consensus on online is it's pretty bad. And then there's all this positive review bombing. So are they trying to prevent positive review bombing? No, not a chance in hell. They absolutely do not want to prevent positive review bombing. But if you click on it, be the first to review, 0 customer reviews. That's pathetic. That's honestly pathetic. And after that 72-hour embargo is lifted, I fully imagine something very similar to this happening because they're going to make sure it's fortified with some fake 10 stars. And then you're going to see a lot of honest 1 to 4 stars coming out there. But those are, of course, review bombing. No one could possibly dislike this show. And that's been the biggest thing to come out of all of this is that they're afraid of fans actually disliking it because this is a lot of money. The most expensive television show ever made. And if it's a failure, that's a failure of monstrous proportions. And I'm here for it. I can't wait to see what happens when that 72-hour embargo lifts and when the viewing figures come out. I fully believe that it's going to be one of the highest watched, if not the highest watched premieres in Amazon's history, but it would be really impressive to see if it wasn't, if enough people, the whole no hate watching deal actually happened. And there's just a lot of shenanigans going on, but when the dust settles, I want to see how bad it actually turns out for this company. It does say #1 in the US, and that doesn't surprise me at all, but I want to see the actual numbers with this. So what do you guys think? Do you think there's some review bombing going on here? Do you definitely think that there's some here with the positive review bombing, or do you think Amazon is just full of crap and afraid that people are disliking their god-awful show, as so much of the internet has come united to say it's god-awful? But anyway, that's all I have for today. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Anon. If you like what I do here and want to see good, compelling stories that Hollywood will no longer give you, check out my book series, Odyssey of a Phoenix, a mythological epic about philosophy, morality, and modern-day mental illness issues. Books 1, Down in Flames, and Book 2, Apocalypse Then, currently on sale. Book 3, Kill the Dark, coming soon.